All right, welcome to the fifth tutorial here in Photoshop called Improving Images with Adjustment Layers. So we're going to talk a little bit about grayscale, and we're going to talk about some adjustment layers and things you can add to your images to make them look a lot better. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go File, and we're going to go Open. And I'm going to open up a grayscale image. So I'm going to go into and find that image I need. I'm going to open up this grayscale image. Okay, so now here we're looking at this grayscale image. This image I can tell is grayscale because it says gray right here. Okay, it's also viewing at 50%, but it's a grayscale image. So this image, if I go up to image mode, it is grayscale. It is not RGB color. So I cannot paint with color on this image at this point. Now, any grayscale image is broke down from 0 to 255 colors. And if we look at this chart here, we can see those colors. We have what are called shadows, midtones, and highlights on any grayscale image. And so your color range, 0 is black to 255 is white on a grayscale image. Now, we can look at this image in different ways. If I click on image, hang on, I got to get on the background. Image and adjustments, and I click on levels. Okay, I can see kind of the breakdown of that image, and I can see the different output levels of that image. So you can see there's, if I adjust these, I can adjust and change the amount of white, gray, black in that image. And I can press OK and change that. And that's going to change the actual image itself. If I go to image adjustments and I go to posterize down here, you can break this into different levels of how many colors on that 255 scale that you're going to allow, like down to 2, which is black and white. Okay, so you can kind of see the breakdown of the grayscale image and the different amounts of gray, black, and white in the image. So that's another option that we can do. Now I'm going to close this image. I'm going to say no to save changes. And I'm going to go File, Open. And I'm going to open up this lady file. Okay, so here's this lady file right here. This is a grayscale image as well. And I look at this image, and it's pretty kind of blah. You know, there's not much contrast. It's a lot of gray. You know, it's not a great image. Now, to improve images that you get out of your camera, you can add what are called adjustment layers. So I can go down here to my layer panel, and I can click on this little button right here that looks like a graph, a pie graph, a little circle. Click on it, and I'm going to apply a brightness/contrast adjustment layer. Now when I click on that, it'll add this adjustment layer above the layer that I was on. And it allows me to adjust the brightness. So I can drag the brightness more or less. And it allows me to adjust the contrast. So I can change the contrast of that image. Less contrast or more contrast. I definitely want more contrast in this image to make it look better. And I do want to add some light to it to make it look better. But that's an adjustment layer. It doesn't change the underlying layer, but it changes the umbrella, the look of the light coming through that to that image. So if I take it off, it looks like this before. With the adjustment layer, I think it looks a lot nicer, given what I've done with it to add some brightness and contrast to the image. You never know exactly what's going to come out of your camera, your digital camera. You try to take the best shot you can, but sometimes the light's not right. Sometimes, you know, you could have something happening that there's always usually a way to make it a little bit better, you know, and these adjustment layers are quick, easy ways to do that. So That's kind of neat. I'm going to close this and say no to save changes. Now let's go File, Open again. I'm in that same folder, and I'm going to go and open up Grayscale 2. Okay, so here's this Grayscale image, and I can look at this image. This is the same guy, and I could also add an adjustment layer to a Grayscale image just to balance the image out more. I'm going to go down to my adjustment layers down here, and I'm going to go select levels. Okay, and when I select that levels adjustment, I can see up here the breakdown of the colors in my actual picture. This could happen. I can see up here I have no dark black, and not very many dark grays. I don't really have any white, and I don't have much for light gray either. Well, I can balance this image out and make it look a lot better, more distinct. I can take my black level slider and adjust that to add some black to my image. And the same with my white. And the gray, the midpoint level, I usually just kind of leave that there because that's usually in a pretty good spot. But, I added some white and black, so it's a lot more distinct. It's a lot more clear. It's a lot more, it makes it almost have more contrast. I didn't change the underlying layer. I just added an adjustment layer above it that changed the appearance of the underlying layer. So if I hide that, it looks like this. Originally, our levels adjustment made that image look quite a bit better, in my opinion, by adding some black and white to the image. All right, I'm going to close that and say no to save changes. Now, I'm going to go File, Open. I'm going to open up Lady 2. Here's Lady 2. Okay, now I have a color image. I can see it's an RGB image. Image mode, it is RGB color. Okay, it is not grayscale. And I look at this image and I go, all right, here's this picture. The color that sticks out to me is green. And maybe I want to change the balance of that color a little bit. I want to adjust the color balance a little bit on this picture. So I'm going to go down and add an adjustment layer. Now, because this is RGB color, you have all these other new ones that are ready to go for you. Vibrance, hue saturation, color balance. We're going to add a color balance adjustment layer to this. Black white's kind of cool too because you can make it a grayscale. But I'm going to click color balance, and I'm going to add a color balance adjustment. And what the color balance adjustment allows me to do is to, I have a lot of green in here. I want to take some of that green out. So I'm going to slide this more towards magenta and less from the green. So I'm going to go like a negative just to get a little more magenta in there and a little less green. But you can add or subtract color to an image with the color balance adjustment. And I'm just going to tweak this a little bit, and I think I can make that look a lot better. Now, I could also add another adjustment to above this. So I'm going to go back to my layers panel. I'm going to click on my adjustments button, and I'm going to put in a vibrance adjustment. I'm going to click on vibrance. I can improve the vibrance of that image. I can add vibrance and add the saturation of the vibrance to make the image look more vibrant. I don't want it too vibrant because then she starts to get like red faced, but I can add just a little more vibrance, little more saturation of it. I can look at, all right, the color balance adjustment. Maybe I go back, take a little more green out. But, I think I've improved that image. This is what it looked like before. We had some color balance, we had some vibrance. I think we improved the quality of that image using those adjustment layers. There's other adjustment layers in here too that you can play with. They're kind of fun. I like them because you don't change your underlying image, you just change the veil, or I like to say like an umbrella over them, how much light you let or not let in, that affects the image. So this was my tutorial number 5, improving images with adjustment layers. Thanks for watching.